The story begins with a mysterious wishing rock falling from the sky and crashing onto the ground. The next morning, we meet a young boy named Toby who gets ready for school and has breakfast with his older sister Stacy before heading out. At the same school, the richest family in town, the Black family, has 2 kids, Cole and Helvetica Black. Helvetica is the leader of the most popular group at school, and she makes Toby's life miserable by bullying him every single day. She smirks and asks, "Do you even know why we pick on you all the time?" Without missing a beat, Toby smiles and replies, "Sure, because you're in love with me. We both wear braces, after all." Helvetica rolls her eyes and snaps, "Yeah, not happening." Then her friends grab Toby, flip him upside down, and dump him straight into a trash can. After climbing out, Toby quietly heads to his classroom. The very first thing he does is say hello to the classroom fish. The truth is, he doesn't have any real friends, so the little fish had become the only one he could talk to. Meanwhile, his classmate Lugie is giving a science presentation, but instead of explaining his project, he starts saying one ridiculous thing after another. Confused, the teacher asks, "Did you even do your homework?" Lugie confidently replies, "Yes, ma'am, but a crocodile ate my assignment." Of course, nobody believes him, and the teacher sends him back to his seat. After school, Toby sits alone on the front steps until Lugie walks over and tries to be friendly. He even gives Toby 2 chocolate bars. Then Lugie asks, "Why do you let Helvetica and her brother bully you every day?" "I don't really have a choice." Before they can talk any longer, Lugie's older brothers show up and drag him away. As they're leaving, chocolate bars keep falling out of Lugie's pockets. Toby watches in confusion. Where did he get so much chocolate? But he doesn't think much about it and starts walking home. On the way, Cole and his gang catch up to him again. Toby runs for his life and climbs a tree to get away. Instead of giving up, the kids start throwing rocks at him. One of them hits Toby in the head. He loses his balance, slams into a branch, and falls to the ground. But when he lands, he notices a strange rainbow-colored rock lying beside him. The moment he picks it up, a mysterious voice echoes in his ears. "Make a wish." Startled at first, Toby quietly says, "I wish I had some friends who are as unique and interesting as I am." Suddenly, 4 tiny flying UFOs appear right in front of him. These were about to become his brand new friends. Toby secretly brings the little UFOs home. Inside them are tiny aliens. Before long, they crawl out of his backpack, turn on a cooking show, and immediately start making food all by themselves. Meanwhile, Toby sits at the dinner table talking with his parents, but both of them are completely buried in work. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson work for Black Box Unlimited Worldwide Industries Incorporated, the company behind the Black Box, a universal gadget that can transform into almost any device imaginable. Because of their demanding jobs, they're almost always busy. Just then, Toby's older sister Stacy storms into the room. Her mom asks, "Did your Black Box stop working again?" Stacy sighs and replies, "No, I'm fighting with my boyfriend." A moment later, strange noises start coming from the kitchen. Trying to cover things up, Toby quickly says, "It's probably just the ice maker." Then he rushes into the kitchen, only to freeze in amazement. The little aliens have prepared an entire table full of delicious food. They sit Toby down and proudly serve him dinner. Toby happily eats every bite, and they don't stop there. The aliens completely clean his messy bedroom. When Toby's dad walks in, he's shocked to see the room spotless. He's so impressed that he even gives Toby a raise in his allowance. Toby grins and jokingly asks, "Okay, can you fix my teeth too?" The tiny aliens get right to work. Within moments, they clean his teeth, straighten them perfectly, and even remove his braces. A little later, Stacy comes into Toby's room, looking for her car keys. While arguing with her boyfriend on the phone, she notices the mysterious wishing rock. Frustrated, she blurts out, "You seriously need to grow up." The instant those words leave her mouth, her boyfriend's voice suddenly becomes much deeper, as if he's literally turning into a giant. Stacy laughs it off, thinking it's some weird joke, leaves the rock where it is, and walks away. The next morning, Toby flies all the way to school with the help of his alien friends. Before entering the building, he hides them back inside his backpack. During class, Toby keeps peeking into the bag, quietly telling them to stay silent. Helvetica notices his strange behavior, but the real trouble is only beginning. A few moments later, the aliens start blasting loud music through the black box hidden inside Toby's backpack. The entire class turns to stare at him. The teacher immediately scolds Toby. Panicking, he reaches into the bag to stop the aliens, but the tiny creatures stubbornly hold on to the black box. During the tug of war, the black box suddenly flies flies out of the backpack and smacks Helvetica right in the face. Now she's absolutely furious. She marches over to the classroom aquarium and threatens to swallow Toby's beloved fish. At the same time, the aliens fly around the classroom, snatch the chocolate bars out of Lugie's pockets, and create even more chaos. The second Helvetica puts the fish into her mouth, Toby dives at her without thinking, desperate to save it. The struggle sends both of them crashing straight through the classroom window. The fish tank slams into nearby science equipment, spilling chemicals everywhere and triggering a massive reaction that throws the classroom into chaos. The aliens quickly rescue the fish and return it safely to the aquarium. Then they race outside and give Cole and his gang the beating they deserved, even smashing Cole headfirst into a tree. Meanwhile, Toby and Helvetica are both badly injured. They are rushed to the hospital, where doctors put casts on their arms. Surprisingly, after the accident, something changes. The rivalry between Toby and Helvetica slowly turns into an unexpected friendship. Even the strange but kind-hearted Lugie becomes one of Toby's closest friends. Seeing that Toby finally has real friends of his own, the little aliens realize he doesn't need them anymore, so they quietly say goodbye and leave. But the biggest surprise was that this entire chain of chaos had actually started because of Lugie. One day, heavy rain was pouring outside, so Lugie's two older brothers, Luke and Laser, stayed inside playing video games. Lugie quickly got bored and said, "Come on, let's go outside. I want some adventure." A few moments later, the rain suddenly stopped, and a beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky. The three brothers excitedly headed outside. Looking at the rainbow, they all wondered, where does it actually begin? Curious, they decided to find out. After a long hike, they finally reached what looked like the starting point of the rainbow. There, they discovered a glowing rainbow-colored rock. The instant Lugie picked it up, a mysterious voice echoed around him, "Make a wish." Without wasting a second, Lugie wished, "I want endless chocolate bars in my pockets." Immediately, both of his pockets filled with countless chocolate bars. Feeling unstoppable, he made another wish. He wanted a giant castle surrounded by a moat filled with crocodiles and poisonous snakes. And just like that, the castle appeared. Now Luke and Laser wanted to make wishes too. They started fighting over the magical rock. During the struggle, the wishing rock slipped from their hands and fell straight into the moat. Determined to get it back, the brothers climbed down into the pit. They spotted the rock sitting on what looked like a huge boulder in the middle of a pond, but as Lugie reached for it, he realized it wasn't a rock at all. It was the head of a gigantic crocodile. The crocodile suddenly attacked. Lugie barely escaped by jumping away, but during the chaos, the magical rock slipped right into the crocodile's mouth. At the same time, Luke became surrounded by dozens of poisonous snakes. Without thinking twice, Lugie jumped straight into the crocodile's mouth and managed to pull the wishing rock out of its stomach. As soon as he grabbed the rock, Lugie wished for every snake to disappear. In an instant, they were all gone, saving Luke's life. But during the whole mess, the crocodile accidentally swallowed Luke's homework. So when Lugie later claimed at school that a crocodile had eaten his homework, he was actually telling the truth. Things got even crazier. While Lugie was inside the crocodile's stomach, the crocodile somehow made a wish of its own. "I wish every crocodile in the world could walk on two legs." Seconds later, crocodiles everywhere started running around like humans, and they all began chasing the three brothers. Panicking, Lugie wished they could fly. Almost instantly, a giant pterodactyl swooped down, grabbed all three brothers with its claws, and carried them to the tallest tower of the castle. Unfortunately, the two-legged crocodiles simply started climbing the tower after them. Lugie quickly wished for telekinetic powers. With a wave of his mind, every crocodile was thrown back to the ground. Just as the brothers thought they were finally safe, the pterodactyl flew overhead and pooped directly on Lugie. By now, the three brothers were completely exhausted, so Lugie made one final wish. "I wish we were back home," Laser finally said. "If we're going to use this rock, we need to think very carefully before making any wishes." That gave Lugie another idea. He wished that one of them would become a super genius, but the rock had other plans. Instead, it turned their little sister into a super genius. Without even speaking, she could communicate with everyone using only her mind. Once again, the wish backfired. Finally, an annoyed Laser picked up the rock and wished for a giant slingshot so they could launch the cursed stone as far away as possible. The magical rock flew through the air and landed in the exact same place where Toby would later discover it. Meanwhile, after arguing with her boyfriend, Stacy went to tutor a young boy named Nose, who had once been Toby's best friend. Nose's father, Dr. Noseworthy, was so terrified of germs that his entire house was sealed like a laboratory. He constantly washed his hands and wouldn't even step outside without wearing a full biohazard suit. Everyone had to be completely sanitized before entering the house. That That same day, Stacy spotted the rainbow-colored rock outside. She quietly picked it up and brought it inside. Meanwhile, Nose was in his father's laboratory. When Dr. Noseworthy turned his back, Nose casually picked his nose. Unfortunately, a tiny booger landed right in the middle of his father's experiment. Nose panicked. He wanted to confess, but he was too scared of getting into trouble. Just then, he noticed the mysterious rock in Stacy's hand. She handed it to him. Looking toward his father, Nose innocently wished, "I wish Dad's experiment would finally work." And just like that, a brand new disaster began. The tiny booger suddenly started growing larger and larger, until, within seconds, it transformed into a gigantic, terrifying monster. At the same time, Toby and Lugie arrived at Nose's house. They wanted to ask him about the magical rock, but Nose immediately denied knowing anything about it. Toby reminded him that this was the first time they'd seen each other in over a year, apologized for everything that had happened between them, and then asked about the rainbow-colored stone. Nose lied and replied, "I've never seen anything like that." Then he hung up. Now Toby and Lugie were convinced Nose was hiding something. Meanwhile, the giant monster smashed through the laboratory glass and began wandering freely through the house. Hearing strange noises, Nose assumed his father had simply fallen asleep while working. At the same time, Toby and Lugie climbed through a broken window to sneak inside. But before they could do anything, Dr. Noseworthy caught them red-handed. Instead of asking questions, he immediately forced both of them through his full sanitizing routine. Meanwhile, as Nose entered the laboratory, he came face to face with the terrifying monster. And the very next second, the creature charged straight at him. Meanwhile, Stacy walks into the living room to talk to Toby. Just then, Nose comes running in, screaming about the terrifying monster. At the same time, Toby and Lugie notice the magical rainbow-colored rock in Nose's hand. Without thinking, they both lunge for it. During the struggle, the rock flies into the air, and at that exact moment, the monster crashes through the front door. Unfortunately, the wishing rock lands right inside the creature's mouth. Thinking fast, Dr. Noseworthy presses a button, and a thick glass wall instantly rises between everyone and the monster. But the creature is unbelievably strong. Within seconds, it smashes through the glass and charges after them again. It turns out the monster is seeking revenge because Nose has a habit of eating the tiny boogers he picks from his nose, and this bizarre creature sees them as its own kind. Everyone runs for their lives and rushes into the home's sanitation chamber. Meanwhile, Dr. Noseworthy grabs an overhead pipe and slides straight back into his laboratory. Toby, however, refuses to leave without the wishing rock. So he turns around and faces the monster again, hoping to get the stone back from its stomach. This time, the monster grabs him. Thinking quickly, Nose picks another tiny booger from his nose and holds it up. He shouts, "Let my friend go, or I'll eat your friend." Not wanting to lose its tiny companion, the monster reluctantly releases Toby, but they still aren't safe. Everyone escapes through the sanitation chamber and makes it outside, while the monster continues chasing them. As they run, Nose crashes into the mailbox and falls face first into the mud. The monster is about to eat him when Dr. Noseworthy arrives just in time with a special weapon. He fires a single shot. The giant monster instantly shrinks down to a tiny size, and Dr. Noseworthy traps it inside a small container. Taking advantage of the distraction, Toby and Lugie grab the wishing rock and quickly run away. The story then jumps back to the previous night. Toby's parents, Jane and Billy, are getting ready for a huge company party. That evening, one of them will be promoted to the company's newest partner. Both of them lead separate divisions, Team A and Team B, and whichever team has generated the most profit will earn the promotion. Even though they're standing in the same room, Billy sends Jane a text filled with heart and kiss emojis. That simple moment makes Jane realize how much their jobs at Black Box Unlimited Worldwide Industries have pulled them apart. Before leaving, Jane stops by Toby's room to say goodnight. She thinks he's already asleep. Just then, Helvetica sends a message to Toby's black box. Jane reaches over to read it, but Toby suddenly opens his eyes. Trying to play it off, Jane pretends she's only picking something up from the floor. Without realizing it, she accidentally places the wishing rock inside her purse before leaving. Moments later, Lugie calls Toby. He tells him, "I know you've got the wishing rock. I'm pretty sure those little aliens appeared because of it." Then he asks where the rock is. That's when Toby realizes his mom accidentally took it with her. Meanwhile, Jane and Billy are driving to the company party. On the way, Jane starts thinking about their honeymoon. She smiles and says, "I wish we could be close again, just like we used to be." The wishing rock immediately grants her wish. Within seconds, Jane and Billy become physically stuck together. Completely panicked, they hide inside some nearby bushes. During all the confusion, Jane accidentally leaves her purse behind find on the steps. A little later, Helvetica finds it. She has no idea the magical wishing rock is hidden inside. Just then, Toby suddenly sneaks up behind her and startles her. Annoyed, Helvetica throws the purse right at his face. At that moment, Mr. Black walks over, scolds Helvetica for her behavior, and tells her to put some ice on Toby's injury. She reluctantly takes Toby into the kitchen and presses an ice pack against the bump on his head. Then she asks, "What are you even doing at this party?" Toby replies, "I'm just here to get my mom's purse." He quietly picks up the wishing rock from the nearby table and starts walking away, but Helvetica grabs him. Panicking, Toby shouts, "Let go of the wishing rock." That's when Helvetica realizes the stone has magical powers. Curious, she asks, "So, how does this thing actually work?" Before Toby can answer, Cole walks in and, as usual, picks Toby up and tosses him straight into a trash can. Watching her brother act like an idiot, Helvetica blurts out, "Cole, I wish you were a beetle." The wishing rock grants the wish instantly. A moment later, Toby climbs back up. The metal trash can is still stuck over his head, so he can't see where he's going. He accidentally walks straight into Helvetica, and the steel can slams right into her face. In the middle of the chaos, the wishing rock flies into the air once again, this time landing on a waiter's serving tray. Watching everything through the window, Jane finally realizes that the wishing rock is responsible for everything happening to her and Billy. So the two of them hurry into the party, determined to get the magical stone back and fix everything before things become even worse. Meanwhile, Jane and Billy continue searching for the magical wishing rock, while Toby and Helvetica are looking for it as well. At that moment, Mr. Black accidentally picks up the stone, thinking it's just another party favor. He immediately orders Jane and Billy to separate and come up on stage. The problem is, they physically can't separate anymore. Seeing them stuck together, Mr. Black laughs and says, "Exactly, you should always stay close to your competition. I wish everyone here had that same competitive spirit." The wishing rock grants his wish instantly. Within seconds, everyone at the party starts fighting each other, turning the entire ballroom into complete chaos. During the madness, a waiter bumps into Mr. Black, knocking the magical rock out of his hand. Jane and Billy quickly dive to the floor and grab it. But before they can make a wish, Helvetica snatches the rock away. She runs off, planning to tell her father about its incredible powers. However, Mr. Black is already furious because of the chaos surrounding him and starts yelling at her. Annoyed, Helvetica shouts back, "Open your ears and actually listen to me." The wishing rock takes her words literally. Suddenly, Mr. Black's ears grow to an enormous size. Helvetica then wishes for the cast on her arm to disappear. Next, she gives herself an awesome rocket-powered motorcycle and even wishes away her braces. She jumps onto the rocket bike and speeds off with the wishing rock. Jane and Billy chase after her on a bicycle. A few moments later, Helvetica crashes into a huge rock and is launched straight into a dumpster. The wishing rock slips from her hand and rolls all the way back to Mr. Black's mansion. Mr. Black quickly grabs it and is about to make another wish, but several people tackle him at the same time. In the middle of the struggle, Toby manages to grab the rock. Without hesitating, he says, "I wish everything would go back to normal." Instantly, the magic reverses itself. Everyone stops fighting. Jane and Billy finally separate, and Cole changes back from a beetle into a normal boy. Knowing how dangerous the rock is, Toby throws it as far away as he can. It lands outside Dr. Noseworthy's house, the very same place where Stacy finds it the next day. Back in the present, after getting the wishing rock back from Nose, Toby's first wish is to remove the cast from his arm. But before he can make another wish, Helvetica rushes in and steals the rock again. At that moment, an entire team of black box security guards arrives. They order the kids to hand over the stone. Nose refuses to let Mr. Black get his hands on it, so he grabs the rock from Helvetica and runs. While escaping, he shouts, "I wish I could fly." The wishing rock twists his wish in its own way and turns Nose into a pigeon. Unfortunately, he can barely stay in the air because he's still carrying the heavy rock. A few moments later, the stone ends up in Laser's hands. Once he gets home, he wishes, "I want my arms to be so long that nobody can ever take this rock away from me." Instantly, his arms stretch several yards long, but Helvetica sneaks up to the second floor and steals the wishing rock again. This time, she wishes to become invisible. She completely disappears, but the glowing wishing rock is still floating in plain sight. So everyone simply chases the floating stone instead. Soon, Laser uses his incredibly long arms to grab it back. The moment he touches the rock, his stretched arms disappear and Helvetica becomes visible again. Furious, Helvetica punches Laser, sending the wishing rock flying once more. This time, it lands in Mr. Black's hands. The second he grabs it, he fires everyone from their jobs. Then he proudly wishes, "I want a mountain of money." In an instant, an enormous mountain of cash appears around him. Helvetica quickly points out, "Dad, why don't you transfer all that money into your bank account?" Without thinking, Mr. Black wishes for exactly that. The money vanishes immediately. Unfortunately, the mountain disappears too, leaving Mr. Black dangling from the side of a tall building. Meanwhile, one of the security guards grabs the wishing rock and laughs. "Now everything's going to happen my way." At that moment, Toby finally realizes something important. In the wrong hands, even the greatest power becomes incredibly dangerous. The kids all agree that adults should never be allowed to control the wishing rock again. Just as the security guard is about to make a wish, Helvetica quickly touches the rock and blurts out, "Turn him into a sausage." Before the magic can fully play out, Stacy's boyfriend suddenly arrives. Because of Stacy's earlier wish, he has grown into a giant as tall as a skyscraper. His first move is to safely rescue Mr. Black. Then Mr. Black grabs the wishing rock once again. This time he declares, "I wish I were the most powerful person in the world." Instantly, his entire body transforms into a gigantic black box robot. To stop her father, Helvetica transforms herself into a giant wasp, while Cole becomes a massive beetle. Together, they attack the giant robot. At the same time, Toby calls back his tiny alien friends for help, and Lugie arrives, leading an entire army of crocodiles. The battle quickly turns into complete madness. Even so, Mr. Black easily throws the crocodiles aside one after another. During the fight, one flying crocodile heads straight toward Lugie's little sister. By now, she has learned to fully control her incredible telekinetic abilities. She freezes the crocodile in midair with her mind. Then she looks at everyone and says, "If this wishing rock stays in the hands of greedy people, it won't just destroy us, it could destroy the entire universe." Lugie asks, "What do you mean?" "The rock is becoming unstable because everyone has been using it for selfish wishes. It's reached its limit and can't handle any more." As she says this, the magical energy begins fading and everything slowly starts returning to normal. Then she adds, "We have to get rid of this rock or it'll destroy all of us." Everyone agrees. Just then, a powerful storm sweeps across the sky. The wishing rock is carried away by the wind, disappearing into the distance. Rain begins to fall, and a brand new rainbow appears overhead, ready to lead someone else to the magical stone someday. Everyone can only hope that next time, it ends up in the hands of someone wise enough to use it responsibly. After everything they've been through, everyone has learned an important lesson. Jane and Billy finally start spending more time together again, and Mr. Black even promotes Billy to become the company's new partner.